peace. I am calm. And I am perfect. But perfection is oddly defined by different people and with different semantic properties. So perfection can be something without flaw. So it doesn't have any flaw. This is perfect. This is without flaw. But if you use the word perfection to mean that something is without good, so perfection could be like, oh well, you can't be good because you're imperfect, or it can be because you're without flaw. So the flaw in this content or context means something that is bad. So something that is flawed, or something that is bad, or something that is not in the structure, or something the structure that you say it is, because it has to be explained, or something without mistakes, which is also a bad structure. So basically, when you say the word perfect and what you're describing, it needs to be described in order to understand exactly what you mean. So not only you have a dualistic semantic property, but you also need to describe exactly whether you're talking about mistakes or something without flaw. So mistakes is how we learn. So for us to be perfect, we can't even be human, because this mistakes, perfect and mistakes are contradict one another, but in order to get to perfection, you got to go through mistakes. So in order to walk, you got to be able to crawl. In order to talk, you got to be able to mumble. And so we live and learn by making mistakes. Although there's some people that may say, oh, well, this person came out walking and talking. I don't know about all that. Not no perfect understanding. And if that's the case, that's a miracle, which never been seen before or since, although people may say that. But again, there's show and prove, and there's people that says, well, it's true because I said it was true. So mistakes are bad when you regurgitate the mistakes. So in other words, a mistake is a person who stays in a mistake. So perfect, it would be someone who learns and then becomes better, so he'd be able to describe and show you what perfect is, but follows that direction of perfection, as opposed to somebody says, well, we are not perfect or never can be perfect, so they will follow that direction of not being perfect. It's like a dog that either knows that when he vomits not to eat it again, and there's a dog that when he vomits, he keeps trying to eat his vomit, then he vomits, and he eats his vomit, and then he regurgitates his vomit and he eats his vomit, as opposed to a dog that when he vomits, he's like, oh, I'm not going to eat that again. So this is, although it sounds quite ludicrous, it is exactly what's going on. They're doing the same negative actions, but then claiming that, this is how we get better. This is perfect, when it's not perfect. It's imperfect. But we can find perfection through being imperfect and therefore learning, therefore becoming perfect. Again, defined as what is perfect. Because without defining perfection, you will never attain perfection. Even if you have a box that's perfectly squared, you need the exact dimensions in order to find that perfect square. Without the dimensions, you will not be able to find a perfect square. So we as humans need to find our perfection by defining the perfect square, defining how we can achieve perfection. And it's not only verified by us, but it's verified by energy itself. That's called the secret gift, or the Holy Spirit. It's a very powerful energy that by the time you're finished with the human instruction, you most likely would have either attained the spirit or rejected the spirit. And then again, that's going to make you out to have and understand which direction you're going in. So the word perfect is a misnomer. What is perfect, aka without flaw? The perfect potato, the perfect house, the perfect wife, the perfect angle, or whatever, without flaw, is an angle of perception of what you find as ideal. So this word perfect would only be used in the end to find perfection, is to be explained as to what you're talking about, especially in extreme details. Otherwise, the word perfection can equally used for confusion and to keep you in a state of denial, regret, and dismay. And the word perfect, again, anything you're explaining as to what is perfect must be accompanied by a description of what you're claiming to either be perfect or imperfect by their explanation as to and properties as to what is you're describing. A description. It's not the given word by itself when you say perfectly or perfectly this or perfect that. That alone will not stand on its own because that's ambiguous. But you will need to have further elaborate on and understand the concept in which you're trying to project us to something that is perfect, so then you will know exactly what do they mean and what can be attained. Only by saying that you are describing things as perfect, why they are or not, or why something without flaw or good must be described literally in order for you to understand it. Therefore, moving towards your objective and described outcome, which creates clarity and understanding and peace and harmony and clarity as well. So even something simple like perfect love, that needs to be described. Perfect truth, perfect good, perfect bad, perfect morals, all need to be understood. Of course, bad would be, imperfect bad, but it's just to show you how somebody will be like, you're imperfect, or you're not perfect, which is bad when you're good. So they need to understand, well, do you mean you're not perfect by means of if I'm good or not, because we can be good? Or do you mean as somebody without flaws? Because this is how we learn. Without flaw, so to say, well, you're without flaw, you need to describe which flaw. What are you referring to? Because a perfect hair might be somebody who has short hair. Somebody might be perfect hair with long hair. So you need to describe it, and then stop trying to make it look like something it's not by claiming something is perfect when it's just a preference that you're referring to, and that it has nothing to do with perfection but your preference. And something to be perfect or without flaw, you would have to again give the explanation, so you know what is meant by good, bad, or even morals. So they'll say it's perfect that it's good, but you'll know it's bad by what they're describing. But then some people then tend to go in a confusing description, but that in turn exposes who they are. They move too quickly, so now you understand that they are not credible individuals, but they are those who are trying to hustle you. Those to say that good is bad and bad is good, and that there are no morals, and that there's no reason to being because you have already lost before you begun, when that's all a deceptive lie. Because these are hypocritical individual structures or people who are using these words and time and space and in such a manner that it contradicts one itself at all these different points, and that are exposed by a series or a structure that is can be set aside about what they're saying, and then revealed as to whether it's true or not. So they're using words in a dualistic structure, which is a lie, because it is not a singularity of a structure. So there's some people that are saying it is my truth, but they say no, it is the truth, and it's either the truth or a lie, and it would be exposed by what you say and what had occurred. So through time and space will lead you to different pictures as to what they painted. Many times they will explain something, or negative individuals will explain something, and they can't justify what they had explained by what had happened. So they make up a series of lies to say, oh, this is my truth, this is the truth, and it's all a deceptive lie. Or they'll claim that they know things to make you look out to be bad, but then when you go to investigate it, and they'll find that there are so many discrepancies and problems with them that they're not only describing things the way they're not, they would have to elaborate on lies in order to make things out to appear to what they said. But then when you catch them with a straight-faced lie, then they will go to, I don't remember, I forgot, and things of that nature. But their memory is genius when it comes to persecuting you, and they'll say this is exactly what had happened, even though when you check on it and find out it wasn't had happened. So they're claiming great memory when it comes to hurting you, but bad memory when it comes to hurting them. And so therefore you see the flaw in their memory as to when they're doing it. Other people also are dumb when it comes to hurting you, but if you try to hurt them in any way, they're super geniuses. Not only do they try to block it, but then they try to attack you back. Although they say they're not trying to do that, but they're just lying, just looking at more ways to lie and lie and lie. So they would have to come up with lies in order to try to make it look something that it's not. But then over the 14, you'll see exactly how it's exposed, and then you will ask them another question. They could either not answer, or I don't remember, I forgot, or plead the fifth. And basically, you know by their pattern that they're covering up their lies and deception. I don't need to accuse them of lying, because I already know they're lying. Their whole structure is wrong. From what they had said from the beginning, it was wrong. Then you go check it was wrong. Then what they said they had said prior, you know it's wrong. So you know it's all this cover up and trying to make themselves out to be people who they're not. So before you meet somebody, and then you start to meet them and understand who they are, by their own understanding, you know if they're going up the pyramid or down the pyramid, or towards heaven or towards hell. In other words, towards unity and growth, or ununity and destruction. The other semantic property of perfect meaning something or someone without mistakes. In other words, we are not perfect, meaning one without mistakes. So for this simple fact, no one can exist without mistakes, because without mistakes is how we exist. Mistakes is a part of our process. It's how we learn. That's how we grow, and therefore become perfect by the definition of perfect, and through the road or angle of perfection of going towards someone who's not consistently making these mistakes but learns for them. Therefore he can either have no mistakes or minimal or less, but that comes to a point when a point of growth, but not a point of just because you said so. It is without description. To walk, to think, to write, to talk, and all we inspire towards perfection. The problem is not the problem of perfection, but a process of choosing who we are and our exact structure and goals that we have attained and working towards. Or there are some who says they're claiming towards a goal, but they're not. They're just there to cause problems and havoc, basically to squash the goal. So there's a distinct difference. There's an argument evil people use to slay evil, or you're not perfect, or no one is perfect, or as to say you are not good or you are not right, because they technically they reject you, God, and all positive goals. So their beliefs help maintain their action and ungrowth or growth. So this is how we work and how our objective works and how our steps work to activate a better objective and understand the difference between above and below, or the black and the white, in which how we're structured. Again, this is not your skin color. I have no idea how this ended up in skin color, but you have massive psychological problems to people all over the world thinking that, the white man is different from us. Well, it's not. We're all the same. As a matter of fact, many of us are all blessed with different gifts. And that's why the simple fact of killing your children is you're probably killing one of the greatest people who had ever lived with the greatest gifts, and God took all his time to ensure that person these gifts, and somebody comes along and just kills the baby and just ruins our whole future, not understanding that child could have helped you mentally, financially, in any way, shape, or form, and help others, and which help you in the hereafter, because then you're connected to the Holy Spirit and the Spirit of God, and you grow, and you can feel it. It's a distinct difference. You know how you feel fear or how you feel anger when somebody really pisses you off? Imagine feeling that intensity with love, and that is the greater dragon. So there's two different dragons. It's one that is made with evil and one that is made with good. So these negative people, they have this pattern. So they have something that's called limbo time. So they'll say limbo time means they keep you in limbo when every time you're supposed to have time with them. So they'll say they'll be over there at 2 o'clock. They neither show up at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock. They neither call you or talk to you. They leave you in a space of limbo. Now you can call and yell at them, hey, you didn't come over. Then they can lie and say, oh, I was going to come over now, trying to make you feel bad. But they only said something. That's if you call them. That's if they pick up. But most likely, they're going to leave you in a state of limbo, saying, well, between... they'll say, well, I'm going to send you something and never send you something. I'm going to be there, but not be there. I'm going to send you one letter, but send you 5 letters. You said these things, but later on you didn't say those things. You've done this, but later on find out you didn't do it. So their timing is off, and through the 14 they're exposed. So they draw these conclusions, and you see their actions and their anger and their motive and their greed or whatever, and you can see who they are, their actions, and they may be jealous, or even they may appear to be kind, but actually that's only a trick, because you got the action and the motive. So the action may appear that they're being all friendly, but their motive is just to stab you in the back or steal from you or whatever it is. So you have a direct contradiction between the outer and the inner, and that's the way the black and white works, in which the black can also appear to be good, bad, indifferent, or neutral, but the motive is always negative. So a person, you may drop a pencil, and a person may come up to pick up the pencil. Now, there's nothing wrong in a pencil. You drop the pencil, but the question is, why are they picking up that pencil? Now, they could be a really good person, really sweet. Oh, here you go, whatever, Susan or Mary or whatever the person. Here you go. You dropped your pencil, and you'd be like, all right, thanks. But then they may have another alternative reason. So it is between this action and the motive, and through time and space, you'll understand exactly what they're up to. And as you continue the human instruction, you can block it before